Welcome back to Beelzebub the Jag. I've finished sort of roughly trimming the semicircles. I started this last week. These are the areas. Let's just show you inside the boot. Look, let's have a look. Sort of down where near the fuel pumps. The fuel pipes are lifted up out of the harm's way, but the fuel pipes normally sit right down here where it's rusty. There we go. So I'm actually going to, forgive the shaky camera work, I'm going to be cutting along this scribe line. So this semicircle will be cut out. Actually it's not, it's a full circle. I'll be cutting all the way along here, leaving behind half semicircle, cutting away part of the original. Trying to sort of trim back to here. There's not enough good metal, the surface corrosion on the other side, and this will almost definitely, when I try to weld it, it would perforate. So I'm going to cut it right back to good metal all the way along here. See, look, this is all, and this looks good, but you know, it's very thin here, and the other side there's surface corrosion. Now that full circle there, the vent, I'll be able to keep that. I'm going to be trimming along here, and what I'm going to do, let's just pop the panel in. There we go. Gives you a better sense when the thing's sitting. When it's seated, it gives you a better sense of how it's going to look. But what I'm going to do is cut this line first. Get all the rough metal off. Then I'm going to use my panel clamps. Clamp this into place, then I'm going to scribe. When this is really secure, I'll then scribe along here and anywhere else. Then I'll make the second cut. It'd be very, very foolish to try and hold the panel down and scribe around it. It only takes it to move a millimetre, and I don't notice. You then go and cut that, and then the panel isn't going to slot in. So I'll do one at a time. Make the thing fit the first cut, clamp it on very tight. I've got various panel clamps. Then I'll do the second trimming. So it is actually time to start cutting. Actually, I'm a bit apprehensive. It's always it's just one of those things. Are you cutting away original bodywork? I know that I can do this, but nonetheless I'm still slightly apprehensive. So I'll be able to do from about here to here with snips. This is actually going to have to be ground because there's actually a panel, a vent. Let me just show you. Oh, here we go. Let's just go on underneath the car. Where is it? There it is. There's a vent. Oops, dropping the camera. Excuse the shaky camera work. But I can't cut through this. I'll be able to straighten this up, and it's a bit bent. It's obviously been whacked or whatever, but I'll easily be able to straighten that up. But that's all original, so I can't be cutting through that. It's spot welded, which is a bit of a nuisance. And the spot welds, I might be able to identify them and drill them out, but even so, you can see there's panel in there that isn't actually rusty. It's actually sound, so I need to keep that. I'm expecting this one to be reasonably sound as well. So yeah. Anyway, let me trim this out with the tin snips. And then I'll have to use a cutter. Or would it be better to get a hacksaw blade and cut through? I don't know. But I do not want to be cutting through the other panel, which is on the other side of that. I don't want to damage it. It'll be a bit of a nuisance. It's going to take quite some time. I'm not sure that I'll be able to film it realistically because the camera will be over my shoulders and I'll be hunched. So I don't think you'll be able to see it very much. I've even tried to film it. But you know, I'm pretty pleased with the handmade panel. Once that's tack welded in place, I'll be able to sort of, if the hole isn't completely round, I'll be able to, I'll be able to dress it up afterwards because there'll be a lot of dressing of welds. So it looks like that's not quite round enough, and this one looks a bit oblong. So not oblong, but it's a bit squashed up. But I'll be able to round those up. But they do have a plug in them. So yeah, let's have a look at it from a distance. Yeah, you know, it's even with it just dropped in place, you can see it's going to make. So it's been a lot of work, this, but it's definitely going to make a respectable job. Even with that just dropped in place, we can see this is going to work.